Welcome to Three Count Commentaries. This is your host, MongoSlade. So, Hell in a Cell 2021, the final Thunderdome pay-per-view took place. And so let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. So let's start with the main event. Why bury the lead? Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Now, this match was okay. I know a lot of people think it was a great fight. It was a great match. I think it had great moments, but I think it suffered from the same issue that a lot of these matches on this show suffered from. And at the match, I felt like the match was too long. And I just felt like they were going on a little long. Also, it's the second Hell in a Cell match, the third in 3 days. So you have that working against it as well. But I think that it was ultimately a pretty good match. A good outing. There was obviously some weirdness, like a weird hand appeared outside the ring when Drew McIntyre went through the table. I was kind of like, what? Obviously somebody's under the ring. Oh boy. You got stuff like that happening. I particularly liked a couple of spots. I thought it started out pretty slow with them not entirely being sure of what they wanted to do. Lashley going outside the ring immediately seemed weird. Like you would think that they would brawl in the ring and then he would get bumped outside the ring and then he would go start looking for weapons. That was a weird decision, but whatever. Drew hit him with the steps a bunch of times. It just seemed like every time we didn't know what to do, we just went to the stairs. A cool spot, probably one of my favorite spots is when Drew and MVP and Lashley locked Drew in position and turned him into a punching bag. I thought that was pretty cool, because Bob did a great job of making it look like he's just ripping McIntyre apart in that corner, especially with the body punches and stuff like that. That was really dope. They were really laying in the kendo sticks. They really laid that stuff in. The finish, however, is what got a lot of pewters putin. Got a lot of people buzzing. So we got the first ref bump. McIntyre throws, Lashley throws McIntyre into the ref. Ref is bumped outside the ring. McIntyre then gets a visual pin on Lashley with the future shock DDT. He has to wave the second referee that's outside the ring in. That referee opens the door, comes in. When that referee comes in, MVP slides in right behind him. Lashley's able to fight back. Then he's bumped, knocked down. And then, 1, 2, MVP pulls the ref out. Then, we get into the portion where Drew McIntyre beats the shit out of MVP. Beats him up, Claymore, throws him outside the ring, all kind of stuff. Lashley and MVP fight some more. Lashley and Drew McIntyre fight some more. And then the setup for the finish. So McIntyre's in the corner. He's ready to do the finish, the big Claymore. MVP grabs Drew McIntyre's leg. Drew, of course, is distracted, and we get a distraction roll-up in a pay-per-view main event. And Lashley wins. So this is a split decision. Because, sure, distraction roll-ups are a big thumbs down. We see too much of that stuff. We see too many distraction roll-ups, especially in WWE. It's just too much. It is overblown. That alone, is the problem. Simply put, if we didn't see distraction roll-ups 100 times a week across Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, this would have been a perfectly acceptable finish to this match and would have told a great story. It still tells a great story, but it's an overdone finish. This finish is not bad for the reasons I've seen people say that it was bad. Here's why it made sense. MVP's whole concept, his whole story, was that he wanted to be personally responsible for Drew McIntyre losing the title. He said this at around this time last year. Talk about long-term storytelling. He finally did, cost McIntyre the title at, Elimination Chamber. He cost him the title. Cost him to the Miz. And then he cost the Miz the title by, the Faustian deal with Lashley. Now Lashley is his meal ticket. Lashley is his guy, but he's still got this personal beef with Drew McIntyre. And now he's gotten rid of Drew McIntyre. MVP is, central to getting rid of Drew McIntyre. And it began with Drew and MVP. It ends with Drew and MVP. That makes sense. Okay. You have, like I said, this whole thing started because MVP wanted McIntyre under his employ. McIntyre shut him down, said, absolutely not. I don't want no part of that. And then MVP took it personally. And this is MVP's revenge. This whole thing has been, MVP, protecting the golden goose, his whole revenge against McIntyre. So it stands to reason that it would make perfect sense that MVP would be the reason Drew McIntyre loses. Also, that's what you have managers for. Okay? So it made sense from that perspective. It was fine. The problem is we see distraction roll-ups way too much, and it's not a good thing, and plus it's kind of weird to end a match as brutal and as vicious as a Hell in a Cell match with a roll-up. It's very weird. It feels very out of place for a finish to a pay-per-view main event of this caliber with this kind of, with these characters involved. Big, brutal, vicious, Mike Tyson like Bob Lashley, and the, gallant, heroic Drew McIntyre. It seems weird to have a match in which the match ends in a roll-up. It seems out of place. But when I saw the finish, I was only upset that it was a distraction roll-up, because I'm sick of distraction roll-ups. I don't know if I said that already, but I am. But I was taken back to the last chance match between Edge and Batista. And that match ended in a count out where Batista got counted out. And it was basically that Edge had outsmarted him. He knew it was Batista's last chance. Batista was kicking his ass like it was his last chance. But ultimately, win or lose, it was win or die. If Batista didn't win, he wasn't going to get another title match. But he did lose. He just lost by count out. So I thought I kind of went with that in that direction. Like, he didn't kill the babyface, And I think that's what a lot of people wanted. A lot of people wanted Lashley to just kill Drew and, kill him off. And I think that you can't really do that. Not only because you don't have as many strong baby faces as you supposed to have in WWE at this point. I mean, and that's a huge issue, There's nobody to replace him with. But I think also you get more heat by cheating than you do by winning straight up. And that's ultimately the end game of a heel, is to cheat. I'm not going to sit here and say that a heel cheating is somehow weak or bad. That's what heels are supposed to do. Lashley is a bully. What happens when you stand up to the bully? Most of the time they back down. They cower. They find new ways. They start cheating. They throw sand in the eyes, dirt in the eyes. They attack from behind. All that kind of stuff. So I'm okay with it from that perspective. Like I just said, I'm just tired of distraction roll-ups, and I hate them. I fucking hate them. Would it have been better, if he just beat him straight up, hurt lock? Would it have been better? Yeah, I guess. But then you'd have the problem of Lashley just beating the tar out of everybody. Now what? At least in this instance, McIntyre got screwed. So now he's motivated. Of course, people are saying like, oh, he's just going to win the Money in the Bank. I hope they don't go that route, because that would be cheating. Especially, it would be unfair, which would be unbabyface-like, Like, sure, you want every opportunity, but this is your word that you signed a contract saying you would not get a title match. And that should include if you became Mr. Money in the Bank, So he shouldn't even be involved in Money in the Bank, which we already probably know that he will be. But, theoretically, due to this stipulation, he shouldn't even be involved in the Money in the Bank. But we're in a position now where there aren't a lot of baby faces And there aren't that many that can stand up to Lashley. But what I think that they're going to do is they're going to have McIntyre be the reason that Lashley loses the title. And whatever it is, whoever is coming next, whoever, there's, a list of names. I saw some people, there's the idea that some NXT talent were, training at the Performance Center, and they might be coming up, Cross and, Adam Cole and all those guys. They're not coming up anytime soon, I don't believe. At least not anytime within recent memory. Like I said, I think Great American Bash is July 3rd or something like that. So that's another 3 weeks, 4 weeks. That's some time. Well, no, 2 weeks actually. But that's still some time before you can bring them in and build new talent. So I'm guessing it had to be somebody that's already on the roster. We've talked extensively about Kofi Kingston being one of those guys. There's also the idea that you could pull a guy from SmackDown. There's also the Daniel Bryan question that he's been gone for a while. Does Daniel Bryan reemerge, and it's Bryan and Lashley at Money in the Bank or something like that? That all of that is absolutely possible. And I think that what you're probably going to see at Money in the Bank is whoever won the Money in the Bank capitalizing on Lashley later in the show, because Drew McIntyre is going to attack him. And I'm almost willing to bet money on it. I'm almost willing to bet money that that's the finish of Money in the Bank. It's going to be the first pay-per-view with crowds. They're going to want to do something big. Title change will be that. They're not going to change the title with Roman. So what they're probably going to do is pull somebody from SmackDown or somebody from NXT or something like that, put them in the Money in the Bank match, have them win, and then screw Lashley out of the title. Of course, that would probably put, would that put heat on McIntyre? Who knows? It depends on how we get crowds regularly to see how Lashley is, in how he stands in the eye of a live crowd. We'll know. But, it just seems like that's the kind of thing that they will do. Because it's the kind of thing that you would probably would have saw in the Attitude Era. Or Stone Cold Steve Austin. Actually, I think you did see that, where Steve Austin cost The Rock the title by hitting him in the head with a chair. Like that's the kind of stuff that I can see taking place. I can see that happening, just to get the big reaction of a title change in front of that live crowd on the 18th. I can see that. But the finish to this match, to double back to this match, I was okay with it, only because it got Lashley a win. It got McIntyre out of there, so he got this storyline over. And it got heat on Lashley and MVP. They're cheaters, obviously. They can talk down to them, But this is probably going to be the final piece that I talk about, because this is what I saw. I saw a lot of people say, well, Lashley looks weak. Why do they insist on making him look weak? And I say that people don't understand what heels are supposed to do. Heels are supposed to cheat. Part of the issue here, is that you have this big guy in McIntyre. He's not a small guy. Like if McIntyre was the size of like Johnny Gargano, I would agree and say that, it's pretty stupid for him, a guy the size of Lashley, to need to cheat. But Lashley and McIntyre are around the same size, and Lashley's a little bit older, I believe, probably about 6 or 7 years older. And this is his first run. And I guess we fall back on the story that, this is the MVP and McIntyre tale here, with this a connection still between the two of them. But ultimately, Lashley doesn't need to beat McIntyre clean in the middle of the ring every single time in order to look strong. He's beaten the guy multiple times already. Screwing him over once is fine. He beat him clean at WrestleMania. Okay, we don't need to go through it and beat him again. This was at least a different result, an unexpected result. Let's put it like that. It was an unexpected result. But I was not a fan of the distraction roll-up. I wasn't. You could have done literally something else. You could have had MVP swat McIntyre in the head with a kendo stick, and he stumbles or something like that. Then Lashley put him in a small package or something like that and pinned him. Anything of the sort. You could have done something like that. But another distraction roll up is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting, and I hate it. I hate it so very much. All right, so let's go to the next match. Let's go backwards because we'll go backwards into the show. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte. Charlotte Flair's wins by disqualification. That pissed me off. It absolutely did, because this match was again a match of length, and it wasn't until near the end when I realized that this is just a heel program. There's no babyface here. You have two people, both of whom are heels, and you're just kind of like, who am I rooting for and why? I mean, am I rooting against Charlotte just because she's Charlotte? And that's not going to get Rhea Ripley over. Like I said, doing 20-minute work rate matches with Charlotte is not going to get Rhea Ripley over. It's not. This confusion where she's a babyface 1 minute, where she talk about how she respects Nikki Cross, and now she's a heel who hits Charlotte in the face with a piece of the table to get disqualified on purpose because she's losing. It seems ridiculous. This was ridiculous. Now, the match itself was fine. There was nothing wrong with the match. But it's just, I just sat there and I was kind of like, what the fuck are they doing? What really are they doing with Rhea Ripley? They do not know whether she's a babyface or a heel or why. They really should have taken their fucking time. And I get it. They thought Charlotte was going to be out for a while because, again, they thought she was pregnant. So they were like, okay, we got to throw somebody in that slot. We're going to throw Rhea Ripley in that slot. But once they did that, they should have had a plan other than take the title off Asuka, which was the only plan. Once Asuka doesn't got the belt anymore, who knows? Shrug. They didn't sit down and take the time. Like, even when she debuted, it was kind of, is she a face or a heel? Like, she's making demands and this kind of stuff. And then she works the match. I think she works the match pretty much clean. She's pretty much been a heel ever since she came and wrestled Asuka at WrestleMania. And I don't see any reason for it. She's not doing anything expressly heelish until she wrestles Charlotte, and all of a sudden she's cheating. She's not really cutting heel promos when she talks at all. It's just her and Charlotte, catfighting. This has been an absolute abortion. Whatever they had planned. What am I talking about? My whole thesis is there is no plan. Whatever they were thinking when they brought her up is obviously dissolved in water. They have no plan. There is nothing here. And now, because of this fucking disqualification, this is not over. You got to go through it again. So now what? Now we're going to have a triple threat match featuring Nikki fucking Cross? Like, I don't... Look, I'm fine with you wanting to push Nikki Cross or put Nikki Cross in the spot, but one of these people have got to fucking go. All right? Like, somebody has to go. And that's why, I pitched the ridiculous of Rhea Ripley just beating Charlotte in 10 seconds or whatever. Just to get her the fuck out the way. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. Sure, you can say, well, shit, Charlotte wasn't supposed to be here anyway. We thought she was supposed to be pregnant. She's supposed to have been gone. So, sure. Beat her and get her the fuck out of here. We pushing Rhea right now. Let Rhea have the fucking spotlight. Why is everybody but Charlotte taking pinfalls? What the hell is going on here? Like, it's getting ridiculous. It is getting ridiculous, and it's frustrating. And it has the same problem as the men's main event scene. It's fucking Raw, right? They don't have anybody else, so they have to overprotect who they do have. It's like, oh, well, we got to protect Charlotte. Why? Why? Why do we have to protect Charlotte? Well, because if we beat Charlotte, then what? It's like, that's why you shouldn't have, for starters, you should have been pushing other people. That's what you have secondary storylines for. That's what you have tertiary storylines for. So that you can push other people. But, of course, that takes up too much brain power. And it's 50 motherfuckers that work in the writer's room, and they can't come up with a secondary storyline for the women's division on Raw. It's 3 fucking hours. How about no more of these fucking recaps and all that other dumb shit, and we actually let other people talk and cut promos, or you could just bring people up from NXT. Look, I'm not even going to be one of these assholes that say, well, you shouldn't have fired all those people. Look, you can fire as many of them as you want. You have plenty more. Just fucking use them. Okay? Just fucking use them. So you wouldn't have to rely on just having Charlotte in the spotlight all the time. Because now you're going to have to justify Charlotte getting yet another title match. And it's incredibly unfair and bullshit that we have to sit here and do it again in a heel fucking program where there's no babyface and nobody to root for. This is stupid. This is absolute pure retardism. Okay? This is the shit that really pisses people off. The between the ropes stuff is perfectly fine. You know, sometimes the storyline's okay. This one, not so much. You know, because they're having a match between the two of them, and there's no babyface and there's no heel. Well, there's 2 heels. There's no babyface. There's nobody to root for. Why should I care? And then this match is 15 fucking minutes, 20 minutes or whatever, and then it's a disqualification. It's like, I don't get it. It's dumb. It is absolutely dumb. It's a waste of everybody's time. And if one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to waste anybody's time. If they don't value your fucking time, why should you invest in this shit? This shit is frustrating. It's stupid. And then the crazy thing is, out of the 100 fucking options that you had to get out of this match, you chose a disqualification. Let's move on. This is fucking stupid. Let's move on. All right, so Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, match number 4, and it was the worst match that they've had because it was not good. I did not like this match. I did not, and I felt like it was too long. I think Kevin Owens may have gotten injured. I wonder either that or he's got really good at selling, but that top rope dive really took him out. And that arm was looking weird. And what really kind of concerned me was that he got up and walked all the way to the other side of the ring and looked defeated. And then got back in the ring and was talking to the ref. And the ref was talking to him. And then they was chattering back and forth. And then the ref says something to Sami Zayn. And then the match continues. Like, I'm clearly, you know, whatever it was, you know, out of Sami Zayn's hands. Of course, it's a top rope dive, and, you know, top rope dives are prone to somebody getting hurt. They did a decent job of working, Kevin Owens working with one arm. Hopefully he was just selling, because he was still selling the Nigerian nail by coughing 2 days later. So, you know, the part of the story where Sami Zayn is talking about this is karma. This is karma. You know, it's like all of these things is, you know, building up on the Kevin Owens redemption arc, where him talking about how all these horrible things he did in the past, and now it's all catching up with him. You know, now I'm guessing, you know, the Nigerian nail and him getting beat up by Roman and him getting beat up by Apollo Crews and Aziz, and now he gets injured in a match. You know, it all kind of tells a story of there being something off about Kevin Owens, you know. But I hope he's not really injured. But like I said before this match, I said it in the prediction show, you gain nothing from winning this match, you lose nothing from losing this match. You know, you gain nothing, you lose nothing. Nobody's going anywhere. Because Apollo Crews is a heel, they're not challenging for the Intercontinental title. Kevin Owens already lost, and he just lost this match. He has no claim to any title. You know, Sami Zayn, in winning this match, he still doesn't get a claim to any title. Could you have Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns? I don't think so. He's not a believable opponent. Like it would fit the storyline of what they've been doing with Roman, though. Well, it will fit the pattern. I shouldn't say the storyline. Because the pattern so far has been Roman beating up on Ring of Honor guys. So he's been beating up on Ring of Honor guys since September or whatever. Since he first, touched hands with Kevin Owens. And then it was Daniel Bryan. Then it was Cesaro. Now, Sami Zayn would be next. But that will require Sami Zayn to be a babyface or something akin to a babyface. And I'm not really excited about that concept. Not really excited about the concept of Sami Zayn as a babyface. I like Sami Zayn. I don't like the position that he's in because there's no upward mobility for him. And what we're seeing right now with WWE and with AEW, to be honest, is when you try to book somebody too strong, you end up with a bunch of guys piling up at the bottom. And that's kind of what you're doing on SmackDown, where you've gotten to the position where Roman's beating everybody of any name or any importance. So now they're piling up at the bottom. You have the heels who, you don't want heel versus heel program because either Roman to turn them face or they're going to turn Roman face, and that's not what you want. And then all the other baby faces, either they're A, not a credible challenger, or B, already beaten. Okay? Now, I did see somebody say, well, they're going to do the Money in the Bank. And this was probably one of the crazier ideas I saw, is that the Money in the Bank is probably going to go to Shinsuke Nakamura, and then Roman would just beat Shinsuke Nakamura. And I considered that concept. I said, okay, well, if they're going to give a title shot to a guy like Shinsuke Nakamura, it would be through Money in the Bank. That way he wouldn't have to cut promos. He could just surprise. But I say if they were to do that, why not Lashley? And that would be like the smarter thing to do is if you were to win the Money in the Bank from SmackDown, for you to just jump to Raw. And that's a lot easier, because the Money in the Bank could cash in on either one of them. I'm guessing NXT was also an option, but why would you cash in the Money in the Bank in NXT? Same reason I guess you would challenge them at the Royal Rumble. In any event, that's where I guess our next really big contender is going to have to come from, is the Money in the Bank. But I do believe that if we're going to do Money in the Bank, that we're looking at the next match, Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. Now, these two went out there and had one hell of a wrestling match. It was a little long for my taste, but they had an excellent fucking contest. This was really good. Seth Rollins versus Cesaro. Really good. And Seth Rollins wins. He wins clean, too. And it's a little underhanded wrestling trick. Cesaro's going for another sharpshooter, and he pulls on Rollins' legs, and as he's adjusting him, Rollins just rolls him over and pins his shoulders to the mat. It was pretty cool. Very solid, a sneaky win. I like that. It doesn't bury Cesaro. It doesn't hurt him at all. It makes them 1-1 in singles matches. And I think they're probably going to do a King of the Ring, Money in the Bank qualifier with these two, and then put Cesaro over again. And I think that if you're going to do Money in the Bank and somebody from SmackDown is going to win it, I think you go with Cesaro. I think somebody like Big E might be a good choice, for some people. But I think you give Big E the harder route of the Royal Rumble. Now, there's obviously some guys on Raw who haven't been beaten to paste, Damian Priest. And, that's pretty much it. That might be the only one on Raw that I could see winning the Money in the Bank. I see the Money in the Bank being away from somebody who is crowded at the bottom of SmackDown to get out of that and get moved to Raw and be a top guy. Or at least because there's a top babyface position open for Raw. And then I see McIntyre basically rolling down the red carpet for that person anyway. And I say, why not Cesaro? Why not? I love Nakamura. I really do. But he's got, very little momentum. They killed the momentum that he did have when he won the gauntlet match back in January. They killed that. They absolutely shat on it with the whole Adam Pearce thing. And then they never went back to it. So I think that that's kind of But Cesaro, you still have something there. And I think that, as a guy who, and sure, you don't want Cesaro, you kind of really don't need Cesaro to have the money in the bank, because he's not really a guy that should use that gimmick. But I think that he could use it in the same way that somebody like Rob Van Dam used it. He could just call his shot, and that's it. He could use it in an honorable way. He doesn't have to attack people from behind or take advantage of them while they're down or something like that, which I am kind of tired of babyfaces doing that. But I'm still pitching the idea of McIntyre being the reason that, Lashley loses the title. And I see the Money in the Bank just being the facilitator of that title switch. But I still think that the Money in the Bank going to a babyface in Cesaro, and Cesaro just using that as a launching pad to get over to Raw is probably a better option than him being piled up at the bottom of SmackDown. Like there's just no reason for it. And with everybody being booked so strong on SmackDown, well, Cruz is not booked that strong, but he's still having his run. And I wouldn't mind if Cesaro was next for Apollo Crews. I know we still got some unfinished business between him and Seth Rollins, and they probably got one more match or two more matches left, which is fine, But I'm thinking beyond that because I know this thing has to continue. But I'm just thinking beyond that, I think their final match will probably be on TV somewhere, So this match was really good. The match rocked. But I think if we're talking about Money in the Bank and who's going to be the champion, I wouldn't look at Shinsuke Nakamura. I would be looking at Cesaro. That's just me. Have Alexa Bliss and Shayna Baszler. Oh, God. Oh, fuck. Come on, bro. This match was as dumb as I thought it would be. This match was stupid. You got Shayna Baszler doing all her best stuff. She's twisting the elbow and wrist and everything, and Alexa Bliss is just laughing it off. She's doing magic shit where she's hypnotizing people, and they're doing the mirror stuff. And it makes sense. Okay, you got Shayna Baszler who kicked the mirror and broke the mirror. There's some significance with the mirror because now when you look into Alexa Bliss's eyes, you're transfixed, and then you do what she do. If she put her hand up, you put your hand up. You're mirroring Alexa Bliss, and there's some significance and some symbolism between the mirror and all this kind of stuff. I still don't fucking like it. It's spooky mumbo jumbo. It's fucking dumb. Okay? It's dumb. It's stupid. And Shayna Baszler being a part of this is fucking sad. It's sad. But, what else can you do? That's all I have to say about that. Let's go to the women's Hell in a Cell match. Bayley versus Bianca Belair. I really enjoyed this match. I thought this match was really good. I like this match more than the men's match. And I like this match more than the men's match because Bayley, being the master tactician, came up with some pretty creative stuff. And then not only that, this match was wholly 100% unique. It was unique because it used the elements of the characters involved. Bianca Belair is the only character who walks around with like a super long braid. So she uses her braid as a weapon at one point when Bayley has the chair and she doesn't have a chair. She doesn't have a weapon at all. She uses her hair as a whip to put Bayley on defense. Fucking brilliant. That's a smart way of using the hair in the context of the story. She's using that. We know she uses it as a weapon. And we know that it's a weakness because it's attached to her fucking head. So people are constantly pulling on it and trying to do things. Bayley is tying her hair to different objects, which I thought was, again, cool. It's a way of controlling her. Again, it's attached to her head. So why wouldn't you tie her hair to the bottom of the to the bottom rope? Why wouldn't you tie her hair to a chair? And I even enjoyed the idea of, Bianca Belair using it like handcuffs, tying Bayley to her own hair. so Bailey can't escape. Like, all of that was fucking cool. It was unique. It used Bianca Belair's character in a way that not only had not been done before, but in a way, because it's a uniqueness to her character, you can't do it with anybody else. So that means you're not going to see this match again. Unless she does almost an entirely the same thing. It had to be Bianca Belair doing the same thing. Nobody else could do it. It's like when Randy Orton was pulling on Jeff Hardy's gauges, you know? Like, nobody else has them. So it's something you can do only with Jeff Hardy. And like that really cool spot with Sami Zayn handcuffed Jeff's arms to his own head. Like, that was fucking cool. Like, when you do creative shit that involves, that's something that only a character can do. That elevates things. Because then you can't see anybody else doing it. You know? That is chef's kiss. It's good. Now, again, it was a lot of Bob the Builder. We need to put some things together because that's kind of how these matches have become now. I did like Bailey's Mick Foley inspired gear, where she was wearing kind of like a leather flannel. It was kind of like had the flannel pattern, but I think it was leather. And she also had the three faces of Bailey shirt, where, you know, it was like her face 3 times. I did like that. Also, what made this match so fun was Pat McAfee. He made this match really fun. He is so good. Him and Jimmy Smith are so good. You know, they came in and took to this shit like a duck to water. You know, this wrestling thing. You know, Jimmy Smith doesn't have to do the he's got 2 other guys to help him with that. But Pat McAfee is like super excited. He's always standing up and jingling and jangling. But in particular, when Bailey bit Bianca Belair, he was disgusted and appalled, which is great because he's a heel and she's a heel. But he still has like, he has morals. Like, you know, and sure, when you are a heel, it doesn't really help to have morals, but you can have pet peeves. You can have things that you think are, okay, you're going too far. Bailey biting. And he was just so concerned that maybe Bailey had broke the skin, that, you know, she's a cannibal. And and I love that. I thought that really took it to the next level. I love this. So I really enjoyed this match. I think that they did a lot, but they didn't, you know, they didn't kill the territory by doing everything in the world. But they did a lot. You know, the rose plant while Bianca Belair was trapped in the ladder. And then they do things, and this is what the WWE style is, you know, is superior. In so much as, because it's based very heavily on psychology. Things like you can hit your finish. Like Bailey hit the rose plant was one of her finishers. But she had injured her knee. So when she jammed her own knee into the mat on the rose plant, she couldn't really respond. You know, so she had to sell it. And that selling gives Bianca Belair an opportunity to recover. So when she does get the 2 count, it's not oh shit, she's burying Bailey's finish. It's okay, well, she laid there for 4 or 5 seconds, maybe 7 or 8 seconds, which if Bailey had pounced immediately, it probably would have been a 3 count. But because she had 8 or 9 seconds of extra breath, she got to kick out. So that's, you know, something that is greatly beneficial to, you know, the way WWE trains people, is that they kind of learn not to bury their own finishes sometimes. Now, sometimes people do still bury their own finish. It gets kind of burn their shit. But in this one, she actually protected her finish, which makes sense to me. I did love the finish too. Bianca Belair with the KOD on the ladder. I thought the ladder being open was a little weird, but I'm pretty sure that was just safer for Bailey. I'm pretty sure it didn't hurt more because the ladder was open. But of course, you also got the sound and the visual of the whole thing crashing. Like, you got the visual of Bailey crashing into the ladder and the ladder clanking and everything. So, you know, and then so Bianca got a pretty dominant win. She got to stand over Bailey and with the belt up and look like an absolute beast. Cool shit. I said she needed a statement win. Now she's got it. Now Bailey is out of the way. The question is, who comes next? And if they had not just beat Carmella, I would say Carmella, but they just had Carmella lose to Liv Morgan. So who knows? Maybe Liv Morgan is next. Nah, because she lost to Carmella. It's 50-50 booking all over the place. 50-50 up and down the fucking card on both brands. Not exactly all three, but on both brands. Raw and SmackDown is just 50-50 booking. Everybody losing to everybody beating everybody. And again, people piling up at the bottom. Instead of having people ready, you don't even have anybody prepared for Bianca Belair, who is, a dominant champion now. This is just WWE shit booking in a nutshell. All right. But Bianca Belair and Bayley did a really good job. I think it was probably the second best match of the night. I really enjoyed Cesaro and Seth Rollins. I thought they kicked ass. So I think that the Hell in a Cell match between Bayley and Bianca Belair was a great match. Rollins and Cesaro, second best match. Lashley and McIntyre, I would have that third. And then the other two matches, Alexa Bliss and Shayna Baszler is at the bottom. It's absolute trash. And it's pointless. It's absolute trash. Only because I'm a fan of Shayna Baszler. And I was a fan of Alexa Bliss too, back when she was an actual character and not, anybody can do magic shit, okay? That's the frustrating thing to me. If you would have gave fucking Rad Radford magic powers, he probably would have got over. We shouldn't be doing that. Let's not make it about shit she can't actually do or talent she doesn't actually have. She can do cool things with her body, as far as pretend. That's what I thought she was going to do. I don't want to go backwards, but when Shayna Baszler did the stomp on the arm, I thought they were going to do the Alexa Bliss double jointed wrist thing or double jointed arm thing that they usually do. When she pretends like her arm is out of joint. That's what I thought they were going to do, but they didn't do that. But she can do cool shit like that with her body. And, that's other people can't do that. So it would have been cool to see or cool to do. But no, they got to have her do magic and, her fingers are magic wands or her eyes are or whatever the fuck. Who cares? But ultimately, I think the show was a mixed bag. I didn't hate it. I thought that I just think that you just are stuck in this quagmire where you don't know what's going on in certain points, and so you got people piling up at the bottom. So it's like you're not excited for anything after this because you really couldn't get excited for anything before it. Because again, tomorrow night on Raw, now what? You have Lashley celebrating, and then what? He gets confronted by some rando who ain't been on TV in a month, because he's the only way to not get to have any momentum is for you not to have been on TV for a month. So, if you've been on TV anytime recently, you've taken an L. So I don't know, but let me know what you guys think of this show. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to this channel. Thank you guys for your time. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace out. Oh, wait. Subscribe. Donate if you can. Thank you very much. And I'll talk to you guys later.